What am I passionate about?
Is it too late to follow my dreams?
How can I get to where I want to be faster?
These are some of the questions young adults are asking. To find the answers, we set out around the world to meet the individuals who are making a difference. These are their stories. These are your shortcuts.
Hey everyone, my name is Shetty. My mission is to make wisdom go viral. I'm a host, filmmaker, and former monk. I just turned 30.
What's your mission? Like, what are you trying to get across to people?
I want to spread wisdom at the pace we want entertainment, right? So my mission or mantra is to make wisdom go viral. So what I found is that the most successful people in the world, they choose education over entertainment. And so I thought, how do we take education to everyone in the world who chooses entertainment over education? So I think there's so many insights out there, there's great stories out there, there's great ideas out there, but if we can make them entertaining, if we can make them exciting, if we can make them interesting, then people will watch them as they're running, they'll watch them as they're waking up in the morning, they'll watch them as they're traveling, you know? So it's like, how can we fill the gap with education that feels like entertainment?
Business school you were talking about earlier on Monday, you're in business school, and then all of a sudden you had this switch, I'm gonna go be a monk. You know, what was that tipping point and what was that like? Was there a specific moment that you remember, like, you know what, I need to go do this?
I think I remember just being blown away by the principle that if you've been blessed with anything, it's a lot more meaningful to use it for something higher than yourself.
Absolutely.
And that was the tipping point. When I understood that point and I felt and I saw people, role models, who had everything I wanted, everything that I was aspiring for, everything that I was chasing, but I saw that they were using what they had for something more than themselves. They were using it for more than just becoming rich, more than becoming famous, more than having loads of nice stuff. And that was my tipping point. That was noticing people. And that really touched me. It kind of resonated deeply somewhere at the core and moved me to think I should do something more meaningful with my life than what I thought I was going to do.
What'd you go from being a monk to where you are now? How about that?
Yeah.
With that?
Yeah, that one was a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder going the other way. So that tipping point was around the belief or realization I had that I felt that if I wanted to share what I had with the world, I'd have to be in the world, in the real world, or however you want to call it. So a common analogy is like if you want to work with people, if you want to help someone, for example, a bodyguard, your hand's got to get wet. You've got to be in the water to help the person out. So if I want to make a difference in the world, I have to be in the world. And in order to do that, I've got to understand what people respond to. And so I found that digital media, social media was all growing. And I felt this is the way we reach most people for free at scale, right? More people today own a smartphone than a toothbrush. More people have access to the internet than they do to even like basic necessities. So the way to reach out to most people is the internet, it is technology.
And how has that changed and it really just boosted your brain? You know, it's crazy. I saw your post today, you know, the internet's changed so much. Can you kind of tell our audience like how it's changed and it's helping your brain?
Yeah, so I never set out to get on the internet to build a brand. I did it so that we could reach more people. The great thing is that now we can crowdsource change makers from anywhere in the world. So my vision is not to be the only change maker. My vision is to create a community of change makers. So that's what I love about the internet. That's what I love about digital media, that it allows your presence to grow so far that you can find someone who's a change maker in Africa, in India, in South America, all across the world. And that's what it's really done. It's allowed to expand reach at an exponential scale in a way you can't imagine. Like I was saying the other day that I feel really blessed to have had over 1 billion views in less than 12 months. And I can't even understand what that means because it's exponential. And that's what I love about digital, that you will create more opportunities than you even set out to know.
The thing for me is like, how'd you get to that point or that level where you're just like, you know what, people are going to give a shit about what I say? You know, how'd you actually know that? You know what I'm saying?
I think it takes years of practice. So when I lived as a monk, every day I would go to university and I'd be speaking to students. So I used to do these sessions that I used to call Think Out Loud. And every night about 50 students would come together from the university.
Wow.
And I would just talk to them about what I was learning as a monk. And I did that day in, day out for 3 years in a row. I was giving 3 hours of talks and discussions and interactive seminars every night. So
Wow.
if you add
That's
that
a lot
up,
of
it kind of
practice.
fits into the 10,000 hour rule of Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes.
And I spent a lot of time studying content. So some of my videos that have gone viral today were written 10 years ago as a speech for 50 students.
You know, what do you want people to be saying about you in 2 years?
Yeah, there's a really nice quote. I didn't write this, but I read it somewhere. I don't even know who said it. He said that when I was walking to the cemetery, I was looking at the tombstones and thinking what I'd like to be remembered for. And then I thought to myself, why do I want to be remembered at all? And I'll be honest and say that, yeah, I actually have no desire for legacy apart from the fact that I would prefer it if I was able to penetrate and impact millions and billions of people, but they never even had to trace it back to me. Because that's not what it's about. It's about people making a change in their life, being their own heroes, having their own stories, and impacting their community.
Right.
So actually, if everyone forgot about me in 200 years, I'd be okay with that. And I think that's a nice place to be, because it takes the pressure off what Russell Brand called in a series a few years ago called the Messiah complex. And I think that as a teacher, as a guide, you can build this guru complex or Messiah complex.
And mainly like reach out to you for this type of advice. Is there a specific?
Yeah, number one is, Jay, I have no idea what my passion is. Can you help me? Number two is, I know what my passion is, but I hate my career. How do I switch? And the third one is, I just got broken up with. Like, those are like our millennial issues, right? Gen Z millennial issues.
What do you say to them?
So, one of the biggest things for me is how you can go to the core of the issue. So I think you can solve the problem by dealing with the challenges you have right now, or you can go to the root. And for me, it's always going back to the root. My number one thing that I talk about is self-realization. We do not understand ourselves well enough at all. Like, our understanding of ourselves, even as basic as what's your favorite food and what are your 3 favorite movies and how do they fit, most people can't answer that question. If you don't open yourself up to more role models and more ideas, you'll always be trying to fit yourself in the boxes. So I always talk about being grown up in an Asian household. I only ever had 3 options. I either became a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure, right? Those were my 3 options. And that's all I had available to me because I didn't expand my horizons.
Right.
So I never grew up believing I could be a filmmaker. That was just something you watched on the weekend.
Right.
So my advice to people second after realizing yourself is meet more people. Expand your role models, expand your experiences is the third. Go out there and try things out that you've never done before, that you didn't grow up experiencing. My advice, or what I would say to those people is that I'm gonna be real cheesy here and then go a bit.
Go for it.
You know, there's that famous quote in Spider-Man that we all hear, that with great power comes great responsibility. And I think if you have money, fame, insight, intelligence, whatever you have access to, any resource, you've got massive responsibility, more than anyone who doesn't have it. My proposal or hope or pledge to anyone who has anything, not just money, is that I hope that those people are using it for a higher purpose than themselves. Because after a certain period of time, after a certain amount of money, no much more is going to make a difference in our own life. And I think the people who have it know that. And therefore we see people like Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates pledging to give away half or all of their wealth throughout their whole lives. And I think that we see that we're wired for generosity, but the more generous we can be, and the more important than that is to be collaborative in being generous.
Totally.
So I think there's a lot of conflict over like, no, this is more important, that's more important. It's actually like, if we all came together, we could solve everything a lot quicker. And that's always the number one issue, that we know that poverty, we know that hunger could be solved with not much money at all. But the problem is we're not working together. I would say that the number one is self-awareness, as I said before, and I can't emphasize that one more. Like, as in, that is the thing. Like, the more understanding you have of what you're good at, what you're bad at, what you love, what you don't love, what you're gonna excel at, what you're not gonna excel at. The problem is that most people spend most of their lives on stuff they hate and are not good at, or I hate and are good at. And those two things don't make you happy, they don't make you successful. The second thing is being super adaptable. The problem is we want to get to our destination in our way. So if there's a slight detour, or this door doesn't open and you got to knock on another door, we kind of give up and we go, oh no, I can't do that. That's not working for me. But I'll be honest and say that I've got to wherever I want in life, just not in the way I imagined it. And it's happened like that every time. And so now when things don't go my way, I know that that's just a sign that I've got to knock on a different door. It's just a sign that I've got to tread on a different path.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the challenge, that we just switch off. We just go, no, it's not happening. Spend a lot of time experimenting and testing. I don't think we try stuff enough. So if you want to be a vlogger or you want to make videos, make a video and test it and get feedback and make it better. If you want to be a business person, get your minimum viable product together, test that product on a few people. I've seen people go through this. I've had people come up to me and go, Jay, I've got this idea for an app. They build the app and then they realize how hard it is, and then you'll know for yourself whether you've got it in you or not, and whether you love the idea or not. And people say, well, that wastes time or that wastes energy, but it's much better testing it and knowing than convincing yourself you could have been the next $1 billion app.
And you talked a lot about different directions and things come, doors open. You know, how do you realize what opportunity looks like? How do you realize what opportunity looks like?
Momentum. So I don't think that there's any substitute for momentum.
Okay.
And the challenge is that sometimes you get momentum in areas you didn't expect or invest in. And I think people aren't used to that. So if you invest in a lot of areas, you start focusing on a few opportunities, you start noticing momentum. And if it doesn't come from the one you expected it from, you don't put your foot down on that pedal, but you should. Like, as soon as you see momentum, you have to go all in on that area. Yeah, for me, the definition of leadership is, first of all, to be an example. And I think that that's what we're missing in the world today, to really, for leaders to look inside of themselves and live not just what they speak about, but live a greater degree of ethics that we can all agree on. The second definition, or part of that definition, for me is one that empowers more leaders. So for me as a leader is someone who makes more leaders, not more followers. And I'm a big proponent of that. It's not about having one person or one island. Someone who exists for a purpose beyond themselves. That's the third part. So it's my 3 E's of being an example, empowering others, and existing for a purpose beyond yourself.
Absolutely. Jay, appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.